हरि ओम। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पातञ्जलि प्राञ्जलिना नतोऽस्मि। Hari Om. We are in the second or the sadhana pada of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. We have studied 5 yama and 5 niyama. What happens if we neglect them and what happens if we follow them? As a Mahavrata, great discipline, it appears to be very, very strict and almost impossible to follow yama and niyama. However, practically, we need to think why so much of emphasis has been given by Patanjali Maharaj on the strict discipline, Mahavrata of this yama and niyama. The art of following yama and niyama, the secret of following yama and niyama is to think about each yama and niyama and apply to oneself by analyzing one's own position and situation. When I say position and situation, we all are immersed in the world. We are working people. We are involved in society. We are involved in contacts with so many people around. We are in the world of Nama and Rupa. So much so that we have come to justify it, and that is why the mind rebels when yama niyama is told to us. We say, how it is possible? In today's world, you have to go to the office, you have to get connected to people, you have family, you have children, you have problems, you have monetary issues, you have physical issues. So with so many issues around, how do I practice yama and niyama? There are 2 aspects with yama and niyama. One is the quantitative aspect, another is the qualitative aspect. Mind well, the qualitative aspect requires humongous effort on the part of aspirant yogi, but the quantitative aspect is something anyone can implement provided there is will and determination to a certain extent. What is this quantitative aspect of yama and niyama? You don't want to be violent. You want to speak truth. You don't want to steal anything or have greed in the mind about anything that is not to be coveted. You want to be a brahmachari. You don't want to collect things around you. So if you want to be done on a quantitative level, please ensure that you have less contact with this world. On a closer observation, we will find that we are immersed in the world many times because of our own will, not because of the circumstances. You have a child and the child needs to be dropped to the school is an essential duty. But you have a weekend free and you want to call your friends over to have a couple of drinks is not an essential activity. The mind may say that, look, I need some entertainment. What is life? Life is insipid without these things of meeting friends, merrymaking, and enjoying the life, stupefying yourself with some alcohol or drugs or whatever it is. This is a self-cheating. It is a justification of something which cannot be justified. A clear-cut differentiation between duty and indulgence has to be made by every sadhaka, and then all the yama niyamas are automatically followed by quantitative reduction. Remember, the enemies of yama and niyama can be many or can be limited. Reducing the quantity of enemies of yama niyama is in our hand. It is easily implementable. It can be done by all of us and right away. So ask a question to yourself, means to your mind, before you act. Asking a question to mind after doing the act is called repentance. Repentance has a value, but a limited value if repentance hasn't resulted in maturity of thought process. Ask a question to yourself, do you really need to do a thing which you are doing? I'm spending some time in getting ready. Getting ready is to wear the clothes so that the social norms are followed. But our getting ready involves how do I look? Then it involves looking into the mirror, choosing the kind of outfit that I want to choose, spraying the body with the different types of perfumes and getting confused about which perfume to be chosen, which jewelry to be worn. All these are non-essential things eating away our time, in which one of the niyama and yama is getting violated. The aparigraha gets violated. Dissipation of energy is in. So before doing every act, before eating, ask yourself, do I need to eat? No, but it's 9 o'clock, dinner time. No. The appetite has to be there. The body has to demand the food. And ask a question, am I eating the food for the sake of the body or for the sake of my whims and fancy of my mind? If it is meant for nourishing the body, the only requirement for the food is it should be nourishing and sattvika. Any other demand is the demand of the mind, unduly placed. It violates yama and niyama. So moment we say that I like this, please give me a sweet after my food. I have to have a sweet after my food, otherwise I feel incomplete, is nothing else but the demand by the mind. This is what is called quantitative reduction in the yama niyama opportunities, so that you do not have to exercise too much of your energy in following yama and niyama. Avoid friction in life. Don't try to be in touch with too many people. There are stupid people who get into the heated argument about what should USA be doing against Russia. We have nothing to do with them. We should not be wasting time and energy on that. A precious human life is getting wasted at every moment. And then heated discussions, opinions, arguments, kutarka needs to be avoided scrupulously. So yama and niyama are meant for fine-tuning the mind, so that the mind becomes a reservoir of the energy. Then the energy can be directed towards the higher goals. So in the Ashtanga Yoga, yama niyama is a way of conserving the energy, bolting it up inside your heart, so that that is what is going to be needed as a virya, as an energy for the further movement of the inward journey. Think about each yama and niyama carefully and try to be in solitude. Even if you're sitting amongst 100 of your colleagues, with mind you can be in solitude. There is an essential party that you need to attend as an annual party maybe of the company. You cannot avoid it. Do go there, but don't get involved in the gossiping and other things. That is called being present with conspicuous absence. It is an art. Master the art. Speak less, speak when needed. Because a speech is vacha, and vacha can lead to violation of many yamas and niyamas. If I don't speak, I will not harm anyone with the words. The himsa will be avoided. Speak when necessary. Meet people when necessary. Act in this world only when it is essential, so that you have more and more time left to yourself. Stupid are those who say, I have no time. I have no time is a statement by a person who is too much immersed in the world. The busiest man, Gurudeva, his itinerary tells us how busy he was, and yet he was available for everyone and he replied to everybody's letter, because he knew the art of conserving the energy and using it in most judicious manner. Energy is ojas, energy is virya, and we need virya for further progress and movement in the inward journey of the Ashtanga Yoga. So yamas and niyamas are to be followed quantitatively as well as qualitatively, but the first one in the most practical way is the quantitative aspect. No kaka, no mama, no maternal uncle, no paternal uncle. Kabir Maharaj says, Sun Kabira, sun meri loi, hum na kisi ke, hamara na koi. No relations in this world are going to come to our help for the progress of our yoga. No relative of ours is interested in our yoga sadhana. So keep them at a respectable distance. Don't try to get involved into every family activity. Indulge into nothing. Participate to the needed requirement. Yes, we all need money. The money has its own place, and the Lakshmi cannot be neglected in the Grahastha but keep it at its own place. Let Saraswati dominate the life. Let Lakshmi have her role, but limited to the activities of Lakshmi, and it should not be clouding the Saraswati. So try hard, work hard to earn the money required for the duties that have come to you. Let the child go to America to study. There is a huge amount of fees to be paid. Work hard for it. But beyond that, beyond the requirement, let the Lakshmi's thought not galore in your mind. Thinking of millions and billions dissipates the energy. Apart the fact that you will not be getting a pie more than what you deserve as per your prarabdha. Howsoever effort you may make, you may not make more money, and there will be people without effort making money. That's all because of the prarabdha. So hard work, keep doing it, but it should not lead to immersion in the world. Once we have mastered the art of an aspirant yogi following the yama and niyama to the T, then the aspirant yogi is full of energy inside him, because his energy, and mind well, the energy is given in abundance by the Lord to everyone. To the animals, there is abundance of energy, which they dissipate in dancing and running around. But human beings, the virya, the energy, the ojas that we have been given, has to be used for the evolution of consciousness. Once this is fixed in the mind, then the yogi finds out the solitude or the free time for himself. Mind well, we need to have solitude on daily basis in our life. There has to be a time in our daily life which is only meant for yourself, because you are the only one in this world. All your family, friends, relations, society, nation, and the world is something completely away from you, because none of them can work for you. Even the Guru, he will guide you, but the work has to be done by ourselves. Guru ki karni guru jayega, chele ki karni chela, ud jayega hans akela. Everybody has to do his or her own effort. So find out the solitude of the day, and in that solitude, provided, underline the word provided, you have mastered at least to some degree yama and niyama, there is no way you can move forward in Ashtanga Yoga. There are people who are trying to do meditation without mastering yama and niyama. That is an absolute sacrilege. No way the meditation can succeed unless you have yama niyama ingrained in your body. It is an ascent. You cannot start ascending from 1,000 meters to further 2,000 meters unless you have covered the first 1,000 meters. It is nothing else but the self-cheating that you would be doing if you try to meditate without practicing yama niyama. Only a person who is content, santosha, one who has shaucha, one who has a ardent brahmacharya, one who is completely non-violent, one who is full of prema, one who is completely disconnected from the possession, one who has no desire left, is the one who can meditate with a strong virya or energy. That doesn't mean we should not try it, but the success depends upon how much you have mastered the yama niyama. If you mastered the yama niyama 10%, the meditation shall be 10%. So that is the reason why a simultaneous practice of practicing the restraints, the yama and the niyama, the restraints and the constraints, shall lead us to purer mind, which is a one-pointed mind, which is ready for the further journey called inward journey, the antar pravasa. The first two ashtangas, yama and niyama, when perfected as a foundation, the third anga of ashtanga yoga begins, and it is called asana. There are lots of confusion about this word asana. Moment we think of asana, we think of yoga asana, and immediately the different postures come in our mind. We always feel that asana means yogasana, yogasana means either Baddha Padmasana, Padmasana, Vajrasana, or some kind of asana. Mind well, the only word used as asana by Patanjali Maharaj is in only one sutra, and that is the 46th sutra, Sthira Sukhasanam. Only one word. Patanjali Maharaj does not even spend part of the breath extra. It is the most concise scripture available. It is the real sutra, absolute compact form, Sthira Sukhasanam. This is the only asanam word used in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Nowhere it talks about varieties of yoga asanas. That means, what is precisely Patanjali Maharaj trying to say when he says asanam? For this, commentators have really struggled a lot. The topmost of the topmost commentator also is finding himself at his wit's end to explain the word asanam. This is the word where Hatha Yoga differs from the Raja Yoga. The Hatha Yoga, take any treatise, one of the best being Hatha Yoga Pratipika, Swatmaram Muni, or Goraksha Samhita of Gorakshanath. If you take Hatha Yoga mentions more than 84 asanas. Absolutely described in detail in Sanskrit. Each aspect of the asana has been explained to the T. The question here is, what is the difference between this asana and the difference between the asana needs to be understood. Hatha Yoga deals into different types of postures. It is the body that is tackled first in Hatha Yoga, and then the control of the body, which results in control of the prana, and from the control of the prana, the control of the mind is anticipated. In Raja Yoga, control of the mind is supreme. Along with that, because the mind is connected with the body is also taken into consideration. It is the mind on which the Patanjali Maharaj's yoga works. It is the body on which Hatha Yoga works. But Hatha Yoga knows the body is connected to the mind, so they do take mind into consideration, but they reach the mind through the body. In Patanjali Maharaj Ashtanga Yoga, the mind is to be reached, for which a required amount of tuning of the body is done. The body is never considered as physical alone. The body is complete when we consider mind and body together. What it means is psychosomatic is the word that is used in English. Psychosomatic means the mind and the body together. They are one. They cannot be separated. They have influence on each other. Of course, the mind has a larger and the wider influence on body, but the body does have influence on the mind. So the asanam word that is mentioned in Sthira Sukhasanam by Patanjali Maharaj needs elaboration. And the elaboration is asanam is the position of the body which is sitting. As means to sit. Asanam is a luta pratyaya. Asanam is to sit. Now, first thing first, why sit? Because the next anga called pranayama, dhyana, dharana, etc. cannot be done in standing position or while you are walking. The reason? You have three options. The most comfortable position is lying down. So it is definitely sukham. It is sthira also. When you lie down, it is sthira. But why it is still not adopted? Because when you lie down, the tamas dominates and there is a possibility of you going into sleep. When you stand, there could be sukham, but there is no sthirata because you may fall. Why can't you do asanam as while walking, the meditation? The walking is rajas. So the rajas will not let this sattvikata come out. So after studying the different ways, Patanjali Maharaj and the Rishis have come to the conclusion that the best posture for meditation is sitting posture. So it is called asanam. The question comes to the mind, all right, what is so big about the debate of the position that you are taking? Sitting is sitting, all right, I sit, so what? Sir, it is not that they are talking about sitting or standing. The contemplation or the meditation is going to go for few hours to days to weeks to nobody knows what is the higher extent. The reason is with the higher flight of mind, the yogi is going to forget about his body. When he forgets his body, at that point of time, anything that has to do with the body can bring him back down from the higher level of consciousness. For example, supposing that you start getting numbness of one of the part of your body, it will bring you back. If the back is paining, the pain will bring you back. It will divert your attention. We don't want any disturbance from outside, from body, and from mind when we are doing dhyanam. Remember, there are three prerequisites for good dhyanam. Concentration requires three prerequisites. One, nothing from outside should disturb the mind, which means we should not let sound or anything around us disturb us. So the place has to be of a quiet and peaceful nature. Sit in your room, close the door. Let not the sound come from anywhere. Let no distraction be around so that it becomes easier to forget anything other than your body and your mind. Even if you close your eyes, you do feel the presence of your body. And feeling the presence of the body is a great obstacle in meditation. The body should be in a position where it doesn't remind you that she is there. How do you come to know about the body? There is an itch somewhere on the skin, the body attracts your attention. There is indigestion, it will attract your attention. Too much of food you have taken, you will feel drowsy, it will attract your attention. If it is paining somewhere because of the posture, it will attract your attention. That is why a position of the body which does not deviate your attention from the mind and the exercise of concentration is called asanam, which is stable, sthira. And when we say sthira means there is absolutely no movement in the body, because every movement will be noticed by the mind. While doing the meditation, while even listening in a sitting position to the discourse, even for an hour, we change our position 10 times and we sway side to side. That is where, because sometimes the back pains, sometimes the joints pain, sometimes the leg or the foot goes numb. All these are distractions. That is why we want to keep the body in soundless condition. The body should not create any sound. Which body can help you in doing this? Only the body which is physically fit. A sloth, a fat person, a gluttony, a person who eats a lot, doesn't sleep properly, doesn't exercise, is not a person fit for meditation. You need to exercise on a regular basis. That is where the role of Hatha Yoga comes into the picture. A sound body is must for meditation. It should be flexible, supple, and mind well, a yogi doesn't do any kind of boxing or fighting. So need for the yogi to be excessively muscular or powerful or gym goer. No. Our Indian system does not believe in adding any more extra weight to the body because it taxes the systems of the body. If one goes through the Goraksha Samhita of Gorakshanath, he has described how the yogi is. He is meat ahari. He eats little. He is supple. His body is flexible. He is very, very lean and lanky. Excess weight is something anathema against the principles of yoga. A thin person, a flexible person, having a very little appetite, having little but good quality of sleep, is the one who is fit for meditation. The body shall make its presence felt if it is not healthy. The definition of health in yoga is any body that does not make itself felt is health. The ears, the eyes, the skin of a yogi, because of perfect circulation, is always healthy. A diabetic which is not controlling his diabetes will attract a number of infections, inflammations in the body. The body should not have any inflammation anywhere, any pain anywhere. If you have got joint pain, how are we going to sit for meditation? Because it will not be a sthira asanam. After some time, he has to straighten his legs, again flex his leg. And mind well, we are talking about meditation going into hours later on. That's why We should have a position which is sthira. That means it can stay in one particular position for a very long period of time. The period of time given in many Hatha Yoga books is 4 hours and 20 minutes. While Krishnananda Swami in Patanjali Yoga Sutra Bhashyam, he says up to at least 3 hours we should be able to sit in one position without changing the position, without deviating. If this is to be done, then one has to practice it slowly. Practice it at a time when the stomach is not full, not empty. When the body is completely rested. When the hormones in the body are at their optimum level. When the blood sugar in the body is at optimum level. When the endocrine glands are secreting their secretions at optimum level. When the digestive system is working at minimal. When the body is not asking for any more oxygen, so the brain is getting almost all the quantum of required oxygen. And that time, sir, is Brahma Muhurta. Early in the morning at around 3:30, 3:45, getting up in the morning when everything around us is silent and peaceful. You had a refreshing sleep. At such time, sitting into the asana, and the asana is not mentioned by name, but it is left to the yogi by Patanjali Maharaj as long as it is a sthira and a sukham. Sthira means it should not move. It should be stable like a stone. And sukham means while sitting so, it should not create pain or dukkham. Any pain in the body while sitting, it is not sukhasana. And that is why the option given for asana, even by Bhashyakaras, is it can be Padmasana, it can be Virasana, it can be Bhadrasana, Swastikasana, Dandasana, it can be Paryankasana, Krauncha Nishadan, Hasti Nishadan, Ushtra Nishadan. There are so many of them. Some of them have even given the Mayurasana. That can be an asana for meditation for those who have mastered the art. So, sthira sukhasana means asyate anena iti karane asanam. Sthiram cha tat sukham cha iti sthira sukham. It should be stable and it should also be sukha karaka. Sukha karaka means it should not create any pain or it should not create discomfort. Sukha pradatve sati sharira vritti sthiratvam asanatvam iti. Now, so far we saw only sthira sukhasanam means physical part. But sthira sukhasanam doesn't mean only physical part. It does mean mind also. That is why sharira vritti sthiratvam. Sharira sthiratvam, vritti sthiratvam. That is why, as far as asanas are concerned, two of the most important asanas given by the Natha Panthi. Nath people are the one who do meditation for days together. There are even now archaeological places where Nath Munis have practiced their meditation. On the stone where they sit, there are impressions made by the buttocks. Because of prolonged sitting, even the stone creates an impression of the buttock, for that is the long period for which they have sat for dhanam. Gorakshanath says there are many asanas, but two of the prime asanas used for sthira asana is siddhasana, the asana with the way we normally do, with the mudra, and padmasanam. आसनेभ्यः समस्तेभ्यो द्वयम् एतत् उदाहृतम् एक सिद्धासनं प्रोक्तम द्वितीयं पद्मासनम. So generally Padmasan or Siddhasan is the most preferred asan as far as Sthira asan is concerned. Asana means stability of the body and stability of the mind. When we sit in Sthira Sukhasanam, it should be Sthira, stable, Sukha, no discomfort anywhere in the body, and the mind is without the vrittis. An agitating mind cannot be Sthira Sukhasanam. So for the physical part of it, one may try and practice again and again sitting in a particular asana for a longer time. Sit in Vajrasana for about half an hour. Sit in Padmasana for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then slowly increase it. Mind well, yogis, when they sit in Padmasana for couple of days, still there is no numbness in the body. Vivekananda goes a step forward and he says that sit in the asana in such a manner that after some time you are going to forget your body. So when you come back, there should not be any physical element to the body because you are going to forget the feel or the presence of the body. That is why in Brahma Sutra also, in the Phala Adhyaya, Brahma Sutra has got 4 adhyayas: Samanvaya, Avirodha, Sadhana Adhyaya, and Phala Adhyaya. In Phala Adhyaya, it says Asinadhikaranam. The chapter is called Asinadhikaranam. It is dedicated to asana, the Brahma Sutra that I am talking about. And the shloka there is Asinaha Sambhavat. Sthiram asanam atmanaha asinaha sambhavat. That means the whole body and the mind is perfectly in unison without any disturbance. The body has no disturbance, the mind has no disturbance. Mind well, the whole body is made up of desires only. Any vasana can jump out at any point of time and can lead to distraction as well as movement. That is why sometimes this has to be associated along with the pranayama. That is why pranayama can get established only when the chitta vritti and the physic is kept in absolute steady state. Pranayama is movement of the respiration in and out. This movement can be very smooth, and a smooth movement can be regulated, not an erratic movement. And for the smooth movement of pranas or the respiration, the body has to be steady and the mind has to be steady. This is something which we can practice practically in everyday life. Every now and then during a daytime, whether you're in the office or in your car or at your home, try to remain still. Keep yourself at one position. Look at your mind. See what the mind is doing. Then you will see the mind is thinking of something. Since you are watching the mind, you will bring the mind back from that subject. Again, watch your mind. Now the mind has gone to the other subject. Watch your mind. It will come back. Again, it will go to another subject. Watch your mind. Watching the mind is one of the best way of regulating the mind. Swami Vivekananda has given the technique. His technique is, don't force your mind to stop. Don't indulge in what mind is doing. Just observe. Watch the mind. Watching the mind quietens the mind. When the mind is trying to go in a particular direction, just watch the mind. Don't try to pull it back. Don't try to do anything with the mind. Just observe the mind, because you are not the mind. You are the observer, the Sakshi. The Sakshi shall keep looking at the mind, and the activity of the mind slowly starts coming down. The physical body is in erect position, completely relaxed. Shaitilya, Shitilakaran, completely relaxed. Not one muscle in the body is under tension. It's all relaxation. A completely relaxed body and a mind that is getting observed by the observer is Sthira Sukhasanam. Hold yourself. Quieten yourself. Don't be flown by the thoughts. Absolute silence inside. A deafening silence. The silence is what we observe. There is slow deregulation of the movement of the mind. There is no movement of the body. The body is not felt. No pain anywhere. Once a sthira sukhasana is there, then the sitting position should keep the airway wide open. Don't do this. It compresses the glottis, and there is a ruddhata, avaruddhata for the breathing. That is the reason why in asana, the face has to be forward, front, facing to the front. The spine is erect, because an erect spine does not cause backache. A bent or flexed spine even jeopardizes respiration. So it should be erect. In the asanas, there is a role played by the joint capsules, the ligaments, the tendons, the fascial sheath. These are all connecting things other than muscles. Mind well, when we are in a sitting position, muscles are acting to the minimum, but what is acting is ligaments, fascias, joint capsules. Yoga focuses on the exercise of these items. No other exercise in the world focuses on ligaments, fascias, and joint capsules. That is why yogi is supple, flexible. A bodybuilder is not flexible. A runner or a swimmer has humongous capacity of the lungs, but he is not flexible. It is the flexibility that is more important, because the flexibility comes into the picture when you sit in a particular asana. That is why Hatha Yoga is a must, Yogasana is a must for the physical suppleness of the body, created by the flexibility of none else than the joint capsules, the tendons, the fascias, and the ligaments. Ligaments are the fibrous things that connect the joint. Two bones are connected to each other by the ligaments. So for that matter, remember, even a simple process of sitting, we all sit on the sofa. We never think how skillful this act is. Lord has given us the muscles in such a manner that when we sit on a chair or a sofa, we don't go with a force and make an impact on the place. We go slowly and sit on the chair. How does this happen? When we are going down, it is the flexors that make you flex the body. But you might go down with a great speed because of gravity. So anti-gravity muscles are working so that you come down very slowly on the sofa, and without hurting, you are able to sit. Mind well, there is a great amount of anatomical work going on in all the postures. This is all possible because of the impulses given by the brain through the nerves. Now, the nerves are giving the impulses from the motor cortex and the sensory cortex. It is a great function of the brain that we know in which position I'm sitting. When you're in a sitting position, you know without even opening your eyes that you are in a sitting position. You don't need to think that you're walking. You know you're walking. This is called proprioception. It is a very high function, modulated by the nerves. So all the muscles are supplied by the nerves. The nerves terminate through the spinal cord into the brain, into a part called motor cortex, which gives us orders to move the muscles, and the sensory cortex, which senses the everything, every sensation from the body. When you are sitting in Sthira Sukhasanam, there is no activity, no sensation to be felt or perceived. Then what is happening to the brain? Is the brain working as far as muscles are concerned? It has been a point of great debate in medicine whether a resting body gets stimulus from the nerves or no stimuli are there. And it has been found that a resting body also receives stimuli from the nerves. So even if you are sitting, your muscles are receiving stimuli from impulses from the nerves. But after 1950, physiology proved that it is possible that these currents, these impulses, these stimuli coming from the nerves in a sitting position to the muscles can be controlled and made zero by a technique called biofeedback. And biofeedback means you think you are relaxing, and the nerve impulses go down. And then the muscle goes into a complete state of relaxation. If you remember Shavasana in Hatha Yoga, considered to be the most difficult asana to do, although the physical part is the easiest to do, is because that is the state of complete relaxation. In Sthira Sukhasanam, by almost forgetting your body, you are bringing the stimuli of the muscles to almost zero, because of which what happens is you are completely relaxed. Mind well, there are two words in English. One is volition, second is will. Volition is what has given to the name voluntary muscles. I can move my hand and clasp my fist. This is voluntary movement because I have volition. Volition is controlled by the brain, but will is controlled by the mind. Will is not within the purview of the central nervous system. A yogi has a higher and a stronger will, so the volition gets controlled by him. We have volition, we don't have stronger will. That is why asana is mind and body discipline. Firmness of the seat or the Sthira Sukhasanam, in Vivekananda's word, it means you do not feel the body at all. Thus, Sthira Sukhasanam is the most peaceful state, and you feel extremely refreshed after coming back from Sthira Sukhasanam. Our situation is not like that. When we come out of this, we feel the pain. That is why Sthira Sukhasanam has a great importance in Yoga Shastra. Unless you have Sthira Sukhasanam, further progress cannot be achieved. Nobody can maintain meditation if the mind and the body is disturbing you. It is a journey where a door called mind, that is vritti, and a door called body is closed. If these doors remain open and you start traveling, there will be a lot of wind coming inside. It will disturb you and put you off the foot. That is why the body has to be absolutely in consonance with the aim of keeping it steady and without any pain or any awareness. Which body can do that? Only the body which has been maintained in the most optimum manner. Do not think of even doing any kind of meditation if you do not have a physical structure that is required. And what is a physical structure? We already saw a lean and supple and a flexible body, sustaining on limited or the frugal diet. None of the rishis have sumptuous diet. Never. The energy comes from Kundalini Shakti. That's an aspect which is not involved in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, but it does go hand in hand. And mind well, when this has happened, when you are into Sthira Sukhasanam, and when you are now going to be relaxed, the medical findings are, in a Sthira Sukhasanam, the respiratory rate drops by as much as 50%. So a yogi in a Sthira Sukhasanam, very rarely you see him breathing the way we breathe. If you look at a person who is in meditation, his breath is going inside and coming outside in a very slow, rhythmic manner. No sound anywhere, no gharshana happening inside the respiratory tract. The chest is moving a very little. The rate of respiration drops from normal average rate of 12 to 14. The yogi's breathing rate comes down to 3 or 4. The pulse rate drops down as low as 40. Sometimes the heart rate becomes 0. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is a live example of that. The blood pressure drops. The systolic pressure has been proven to be dropping by almost 30 millimeters of mercury, because the endocrine glands are not secreting any hormone. Minimal. Adrenaline is at its lowest. Excitatory hormones are not there. Tranquil, peaceful solitude is there. It brings down the functioning of the body. The heart realizes there is not much work to be done. The yogi is in sustenance phase. The heart beats very slowly, because even with few heartbeats, enough oxygen is now provided to the body. No expenditure of oxygen or energy anywhere. Because the yogi is in meditation, the body does not require much of oxygen or glucose. Majority of the yogis in Himalayas, they have food once a day. Tapovan Maharaj had once a day food for many, many years during sadhana period. That's because the body is brought under a tremendous control. The body is full of energy, but it is supple, flexible, and lanky. Such an asana is the asana which is implied by Patanjali Maharaj. So Hatha Yoga is the preparation of body for such kind of asana which Patanjali Maharaj is contemplating. So the ground in which the harvest to be taken, the ground has to be fertile. Otherwise, howsoever best the seed be, it will never give you the crop. And the fertile ground, and the ground itself is our body. So body and mind, they are the fertile land in which the seed of concentration is sown and the harvest of samadhi is to be taken. What is this particular asana which could be done and how it is to be done? That we will see in the coming session, and then we will enter into the most profound of the yogas, Ashtanga parts, the pranayama. That will be the next one. We shall see that in the next session. Hari Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om Sanjay Ji. We'll wait for some questions.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Mr. Rajendran here. The characteristics of this world is chalanam, movement. And a yogi is through nischalanam, I mean the stillness of the body and mind, is trying to go beyond the world, isn't it? In the process, doesn't he move against the world?
The world is of vibratory nature, but what moves is the manifesting aspect of that energy which is normally very still. If you listen to Ishavasyopanishad, it says tad ejati tad na ejati. Ejati means kampayaman, movement. Na ejati, still. Both are aspect of Apara Brahma. So a yogi goes from ejati, chalana, to na ejati, sthirata, and then he goes beyond both, where there is neither movement nor no movement. Because movement is in relation with no movement. So they are interrelated and comparable. It is a dvandva, and he is a dvandvatita. So yogi, he tries to come from ejati to na ejati, from chanchalata to nischalata. From nischalata, he goes to a state where both do not matter, the Purushottama. So our entire activity is chalati, and charayati is because of rajasa. He is coming from rajasa to sattvikata. Sattvita is stillness, light, peace, tranquility. So it is an attempt by an yogi to reduce the rajas. Rajas of the body is movement of the body. Rajas of the mind is vritti, thought. He is bringing that rajas of the mind also towards the sattvikata. Rajas of the body also towards the sattvikata, for which he sits in one asana and practices bringing these two things back into the fold of no movement or zero movement as far as possible, because then after this movement is arrested of the physical part and the mental part, further movement is there, but it is inward movement. So there is little bit of element of rajasa still required from the mind to go inside for the samadhi purpose. While practicing those different types of samadhis, he slowly starts shedding those even traces of rajasa. By the time he reaches Sananda Samadhi, rajasa is almost negligible. After that, he enters into a phase where Sattva Guna also loses the significance. That is the time when he is ready to transcend the Prakriti. So this is the procedure adopted by the yogi. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Then that goes well with the Tat Jadi, Tannai Jadi, Tad Dure, Tad Andige. That also is a, again. Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. Thank you for beautifully narrating for the preparations for this yoga. I think we should have learned this in the tender age, but now after that so much damage has been done, then you are learning. Yes, this is very good. Now you have mentioned about this Hatha Yoga, Raja Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga. Hatha Yoga postures of the body preparation, and Raja Yoga is concentrating on the mind control, and mind is superior kind of thing. Ashtanga Yoga is both body and mind. Now, Patanjali Yoga Shastra is concentrating on the Ashtanga Yoga, correct? And this Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga is also part of the Patanjali Yoga Sutra.
Let's be very clear. The word Raja Yoga is attributed to Swami Vivekananda. The Patanjali Yoga called Ashtanga Yoga is one yoga and Hatha Yoga is another yoga. These are the only two yogas that are there into the scriptures or the Shastra. The name given to Ashtanga Yoga as Raja Yoga was coined by Vivekananda. So you do not see word Raja Yoga in the past in any of the scriptures. So according to the historians of this Yoga Shastra, the name Raja Yoga was coined and made popular. Even if it must have been mentioned in traces somewhere, it was made popular or it was brought to prominence by Vivekananda. When we say Raja Yoga, we are essentially saying Patanjali Yoga. They are same. It is the Hatha Yoga which is different. And that is why in Hatha Yoga scriptures, you will clearly see the mention of the word Raja Yoga as that the Hatha Yogi does Hatha Yoga to become qualified for Raja Yoga. So Hatha Yoga scriptures themselves admit that Hatha Yoga is the foundation for a Raja Yoga. Hatha Yoga focuses on physics, moves from the body towards mind. Patanjali Maharaj's yoga or a Raja Yoga starts with mind as the base and covers the physic or the body on the way. So it is mind first and body as an accompaniment, while the Hatha Yogis first make the body extremely competent and then tackle the mind. That is why, because they are at the physical level, they focus more on pranas in the beginning and they regulate all the endocrine glands and then they move forward. While Patanjali Maharaj is striking at the root. He directly controls the mind, and for that, whatever is essential of the body is taken into consideration. But the focus is always on the mind. That is the difference between a Raja Yoga and Hatha Yoga. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. We'll just see if anyone else has a few questions.
Sanjay ji, one more question. When you mentioned about the stimuli, when the mind becomes standstill, it's not flowing, and you are most in a tranquil state. While sleeping, also the stimuli from the mind is working, or it is just standstill?
When you are sleeping, your muscles are getting stimuli from the nervous system. How is it that you never go numb in sleeping? Because you don't know how you are sleeping, but none of your body parts are coming under pressure. Supposing you're putting your hand in an odd position, you change it on your own without getting realized. That means there is a coordination between brain and it is at the lowest level. That is called firing of neurons. Our brain alone has 900 billion neurons. And some of them are constantly firing. It is like an electrical arc. It is full of firing. Right now also when I'm speaking, there is firing of neurons. in sleep, this firing comes down, but doesn't die down. Only in yoga nidra, a yogi can bring these impulses, firing of neurons because of his control through breathing to a very low level, and less and less the firing of neurons, more you will feel refreshed. That is why a yogi, when he comes out of samadhi, and this is where I want to bring what Jairamji has told. On a day of Shivratri, Swamiji told everyone that please don't disturb me, and went in for a meditation in Powai. And when he came out, he was radiating like Shiva. That is what Jairamji himself described. What has happened was he got refreshed by the energy, the virya, the ojas, and that comes from complete relaxation of the brain, and that is when the energy gets concentrated, and then it comes out, and then it radiates. It is seen on the face, it is seen in the thought process. It is like humongous amount of energy packed in a body. Hari Om.
Hari Om.